Well, it's guest time, and I've got a really cool one. This is one of the guys that's on the cutting edge of golf. It's Scott Fawcett from Decade Golf. And not only is he cool, not only does he have great information, but he's a noun and a verb. Scott Fawcett's his name, but decading and faucetting, we talk about that, and we talk about what it is to do with Decade Golf. Scott, great to have you back here in the Golf Kingdom.
Great to see you as always. Nice running you at the PGA show last week, and look forward to seeing where we go with this.
Absolutely. Okay, what do you got for us? You always got something good on your mind. Where are you going to take our players and make them better? Take it away.
Well, last week I spoke at the open forum that Chris Como always puts together, and I was talking on a panel. I thought I was on a panel about hitting it straight versus shaping it one direction, and I'm probably one of the most vocal guys out there about shaping the ball one direction. And really, that just gets back to the idea that I'm always trying to eliminate the big mistakes. I just trust that the variance within your shot pattern is going to result in good shots. We're going to get some birdie looks almost by accident, and then we're going to really try to eliminate the bad shots. So when you start trying to work the ball both directions, in my opinion and experience, and I do try to say opinion because this is something I don't believe you can actually prove with a scientific study, because you can't have one player go shape it one direction for 6 months and then they're just altering their own game around too much. So I don't think it's really something you can actually test correctly. But when you start trying to work the ball both ways, you are introducing if I'm trying to fade it, and now when I start trying to hit a draw, I'm going to miss it about 20 or 30% of the time. I'm going to hit a block cut. And those are just always off the planets. And so what you really have to understand is that golf is more of like a Venn diagram, shot patterns and targets. So this first image that we're looking at here, I just have two shot patterns, just two ovals that are laid over, one directly over a front left hole location, and then the yellow one is laid directly over what would be the air quotes decade target, the mathematically correct target. And what you can see is the inner portion of the shot patterns, literally about 80% of these shot patterns essentially are exactly the same, even with targets that are 5 or 6 yards apart. And what we're really doing is we're trading out the left side of the shot pattern in the red oval for the right side of the shot pattern in the decade oval, the yellow oval. And those shots are just almost always 99% of the time going to be much better to be missing it, towards the fat side of the green, if you will. And so then when you start talking about shaping it one direction, now, I'm going to play a fade 100% of the time, similar to Max Homa. It was just perfect timing that we heard Max mic'd up over the weekend saying, I'm going to hit the same shot over, and it's always a fade. It's always a fade. And then yesterday, or 2 days ago, I guess, on number 16, hole's playing 200 and some odd yards long, and the pin is on the left, and Max stands up there and hits his standard fade, but he just didn't fade it quite as much as he was planning on. And so some people would say, was this a pull? And I'm like, it would need to be a little bit further left for me to start considering a pull. In my opinion, he just kind of hit the left side of his shot pattern. So this next image, you can see me in my simulator just hitting 10 or 15 draws and 10 or 15 fades. And what you'll notice on both of them, the left side of my fade shot pattern is just kind of straight, and the right side of my draw shot pattern is just drawing less than I actually intended it to. So you actually can stuff a golf shot to a left pin while playing a fade, and I think that's what most people can't quite wrap their head around, and yet then we had Max Homa just illustrate it perfectly on Saturday. The last image that I want to show you here is just this idea that from 3 feet on the PGA Tour, they average 1 stroke to hole out. From 8 feet on the PGA Tour, they average 1.5 strokes to hole out. So in the first 5 feet, from that's good to, it's 50-50, it's a coin flip, it then only takes 5 feet. We have to go 24 more feet all the way out to 32 feet to lose that next half shot of value. And so what people who, again, for a left pin that want to hit a draw in there, yes, it might aesthetically look cooler that it's shaping towards the hole, but in order to really hit a truly meaningful shot, you need to hit it really inside of 8 or 10 feet. And so you have to get both the direction and the distance correct. And I just think that's a really difficult thing to do while shaping the ball both directions, as opposed to like our Venn diagram image, just letting the variance within your shot pattern create those shots.
I love how you said that. You said hitting a meaningful shot in there. I play left to right, much like you talked about, and going to left flags, I've always kind of liked that look of I'm going to hit it at that left flag, and it's just not going to miss left. If I yank it left, bad on me. Talk more about that meaningful golf shot thing, because you work with a ton of tour players, starting with Will Zalatoris through all these guys now. Go deeper on that meaningful thing.
Well, again, I'd rather you be 20 feet than 30 feet, like obviously. But at the end of the day, that 10 foot difference, it's only about a tenth of a shot. So yeah, being 20 feet's better than 30 feet, whatever. But literally every single foot from 3 to 8 feet is the same amount. It's a tenth of a shot. So if we go from 1 stroke at 3 feet to 1.5 strokes at 8 feet, every foot is about a tenth. So for it to really matter, like to where I actually think you have a chance of making it with any sort of consistency, we need to get it close. And like I say, just the subtle variances in wind on the PGA Tour, especially, we're using pin sheets where the pin sheet is to the front of the green, and then the markings for how deep the pin is go straight up the green. So even if you do the trigonometry, like we're not getting into the Pythagorean theorem here on your show, but at the end of the day, the trigonometry, like you don't even have accurate distances, slightly inaccurate distances, tons of subtle variances in wind. This game is a game of approximates at best. And so you really just need to be avoiding mistakes and bad scores more than you're trying to intentionally make good scores.
And that last quote is a great way to end our segment with Scott Fawcett from Decade Golf. Scott, where can everybody find you out there in the internet world? Where are they going to get up with Scott Fawcett?
At this point, you can Google me, and unfortunately, it's pretty easy to find sometimes. Just if you go to decade.golf, you're going to find everything that you need.
Awesome. Scott, thanks for being here in the Golf Kingdom, and it's always great to wind you up and let you go. Now, we've got some more great stuff coming up in here in the Golf Kingdom. Get ready, because it's time for